today I got out of Phoenix. And thank God, because I looked around and it was just dusty and dingy and the air looks terrible. It was hot. So today, Bill and Lucky and I are all up in Payson. And I'm going to use oil pastels at a spot by the water. And I'm excited about it. Okay, this is the spot I found. I guess this is part of the Verde River. Very pretty. So we've seen some fishermen around here, and Bill and Lucky are going to go on a little adventure and explore around here. And I'm going to get started with some oil pastels. So got 2 sets with me today, and I'm going to use them. And I've got some tone tan sanded paper. So we're going to get going. All right, this is where I've gotten so far. So as you can see, the lighting just changed drastically to the point where I'm just going to have to be doing this from a photograph anyway. So might as well just go home and do that. Plus we have to drive home. So there you go. Now you can see. So that was fun. Nice weather up here. Very comfortable. It's not even 80, so that's pretty awesome. All right, I'm back home. I'm not going to keep going with this. I'm working from some photographs. And it's a little frustrating because the photographs don't really capture the scene very well. Too much contrast in the photographs compared to what was really there. But that's okay. I'm going to go off of memory a lot and just work with it. So I'm nearly done with this base layer that I was doing with the hard pastels, with the Cray-Pas ones. And then I will start going in with the Sennelier for the areas that I really want to highlight. Because those are thicker pastels and they should be able to kind of sit nicely on top. I'm going to use them for a lot of the highlights that are in here. So yeah, I'm just going to be playing around. You know, I still have a lot to learn about oil pastels, and so this is like a lot of experimentation for me. So I'm not expecting this to be perfect. I'm just going to do my best, and hopefully I learn something in the process. Okay, if you're wondering what happened there in the middle, my phone battery died. So, anyway, I'm going to call this done. That was a lot of fun. That certainly turned out better than the last pastel drawing. I used the Canson XL Mixed Media, I think it's called Sand Green. It's for dry media, and it has like a sandy texture to it. I have used that before for pastels, and it definitely works well. So that really helped, having the right paper. I used both my Cray-Pas Specialist and my Sennelier Pastels for this. I used Cray-Pas for the bottom base layer. They're a much harder pastel. And so I got like the color blocked in for the most part, and then I took the Sennelier and brought that in for the upper layers. The hard part is that my Sennelier set has very subdued and subtle, sophisticated colors. And the Cray-Pas set has just kind of like the full spectrum of colors. So for some of my really like bright greens and whatnot, I ended up having to use the Cray-Pas for those. And that was a little bit frustrating because I already had like a lot of layers. And so trying to get the hard oil pastel to stick on top of other oil layers was tough. It was much easier to bring in the soft Sennelier on top of all the layers. So, and then I went in and did a lot of sgraffito to kind of create like the texture and the little branches and lines. Another way I could have done that is with color pencil, but I just didn't like really want to deal with that. So, I think it looks cool though. I think it's fun. It might be like a little darker than it was there for real, but I don't really mind it, honestly. I kind of prefer colors to be more saturated if I'm going to choose. So I'm going to go ahead and peel the tape. All right, there it is. Let's do a little zoom in here. Pretty cool. Yeah, it was nice to get to paint something different today. I feel like I've been painting a lot of the same things, and you get a little tired of painting cactus sometimes. So, very cool. Yeah, this was a lot. This was an epic painting, so I expect that tomorrow I'll probably be doing something smaller. Give myself a little break. Maybe I'll do another mini painting again. I have all those cute little mini canvases. Where I'm going to go, I'm not sure. Today we have a high pollution advisory. We still have like a whole bunch of dust, and it's just kind of gross out there. And I feel like it's either going to make a cool sunset or like a total dud sunset, just like the last couple days. So I decided I'm going to stay in my car to sketch because I don't want to be out in that, honestly. So my goal today is that I have got, I got another color of the Sennelier shellac-based ink because I just really like their inks. Beautiful colors. They're fun to work with. So this one, so I had the sepia already, so now I have the gray. And the gray is kind of like a Payne's gray. It's like a bluish gray in color. And it's cool. And I put it in brush pens just like I did with the other one. I'm going to do everything in gray first. And then I'm going to put little pops of watercolor over it. And I think I'll also do some pen in there too. So I want to kind of like convey the like weird hazy gray kind of look of this day. All right, I'm entirely out of light. So you can see there's a tree there. Yeah. I will talk about this when I'm at home. It is reflecting a lot because I used a lot of iridescent colors. So I think it's probably pretty hard to see what this really looks like right now. So we'll look at it at home. All right, so I'm going to show you what this looks like just in various lighting because it's very reflective, so it's kind of hard to tell what you're looking at first. So I was trying to kind of capture the hazy, weird weather we're having, and also just kind of the mood that comes with it. So I do feel like the the method I used here did capture that. So what I did was I painted all the main shapes in with the Pitt brush pen in Indanthrene Blue. And then I went in with my Sennelier shellac-based ink in gray. And I went in and did all of the tones. So I did the clouds, and I filled in the trees, and I did like a very light wash on the grass. I let that dry first, and then I went in and added color with watercolor. And at the end, I also added a little bit more ink on top, just in places that I thought needed darkness. Like, I thought that the grass and the people were just a little too bright. So, I thought that was fun. Now, I'm going to kind of like hold this up and see, so you can see the iridescence. So, the tree is shiny because that is where the India ink is. And there's also, you can see some kind of carryover from the sky is on there as well. And then the area around the sun, I used copper and gold iridescent Daniel Smith watercolor. And I kind of did that all up in here. And the ink, the gray ink I'm using has like, it's like a Payne's gray kind of. It's like a bluish gray. And then down here, I used an iridescent, let's see what color that's called. I used the Jadeite Genuine along with the Duochrome Saguaro Green. And those were cool together. So the guys that were playing soccer in the grass, one of them was wearing this cool like red and white striped shirt, and then he had like orange shoes on, and they both had like white pants, but I covered them over with just like a little bit of gray because we were in such low lighting. And then the other guy was wearing like a neon yellow shirt with red stripes on the side. So I had fun drawing them. I will say though, this is another reminder that, oh my goodness, my whole goal this year needs to be learning how to sketch people in motion. You can tell I have not spent time on that, and it shows. Yeah, I mean, I've been shown that a couple times during this challenge that needs to be one of my goals for this year. That's really like one of the really good things about doing a challenge like this, though, is it really pushes you to do a bunch of things you wouldn't normally do, and you kind of see what you could benefit from working on. So, but I like how this iridescent paint kind of creates the glare effect that you get when you're kind of staring into the sun. You know, it's kind of neat. It's kind of a fun thing. I'm having fun with that. So I used this same palette that I had used to do a painting of a neighborhood street with cars earlier in the challenge. And so most of the colors I used this time, though, were the iridescent colors. And I did throw in a couple of the colors, like the Piemontite Genuine, I think. And yeah, the Jadeite Genuine. The rest of it were iridescent colors. I really did pull in quite a few of those iridescent colors. Yep. Once you start, you can't stop. I'm telling you. You just get addicted. I don't know where that came from. So that was fun. It wasn't too crazy. I feel like I learned a few things. I tell you, I love this ink, though. Okay, so I put that in. I'm going to turn the light back on now. So the picture's going to be full of glare, but you'll be able to see the ink pens. So I put that ink in 3 of my cheapy water brush pens. So now I have 3 cheapy water brush pens that have the sepia version of the ink, and now these ones have the gray. And I will show you, I experimented before I went out so I could have an idea of what that gray looked like. And I used it just on this mixed media notebook I have. And I had a lot of fun with that, actually. So I did, I'm going to turn the light back down here. I did a layer of the gray, and then I just put some of my watercolors over it. And some of them were iridescent, some of them weren't, and it looked so cool. So using this for kind of the shadow tones and then everything else in the watercolor. But that color, you can see it here. It's a very nice color. It's very pretty. So yeah, I'm going to be doing more with that for sure. All right, as you can see, my desk is total chaos right now. I'm getting ready to go out there. So one of the things I'm doing in prep is that I'm taking a 3x5 New York Central portrait panel, just like the other one I used the other day. And I put some Sennelier abstract acrylic ink on it to tone it. So this time I used burnt sienna. And it looks pretty dark. I mean, it looks like a piece of wood. So I'm going to use that to my advantage. I'm going to treat this like, those are going to be my low lights as that color. And I'm going to paint everything else on there. So I think it'll be cool, actually. The only thing I have to do is make sure that this is really dry before I leave. This ink does take a little bit while to dry, so hopefully it dries before I go. Now, the other thing I've got going on here is I've got my little paint palette, got my little cute brush washer here, I've got my sprayer, and I created a little, this is hilarious. I took my contacts lens box and I created a little holder for this stuff that I'm going to stick in my hiking pack. So my plan is to try and like hike a little bit down a trail and to get a view. We'll see. I'll show you more about my setup when I get there, but it's pretty funny, honestly. So today is a different kind of ominous. There is actually a chance of rain, crazy enough. Weird. So that's the Superstition Ridge line back there. You can kind of see it. I'm going to go walk out there a little bit and see if I can find a better view. I might even sit at these new tables. Check those out. Let's see. Yeah. So that was all lit up just a second ago, and now it's all dark. Isn't that crazy? Not surprising when you have all this cloud cover, though. It just changes things. So. I mean, I went walking around out there being like, oh, I'll probably find a better view if I walk closer. Not really. So, I think I'm just going to paint from right here. This is beautiful. I brought like my hiking stuff with me. I was ready to go like walk down a trail and find a spot. And in the end, I'm at a table. Hilarious. Just makes the most sense today. It's pretty out here though. It's actually like, it's like 90, a little less than 90. Last day of the month and it's nice. Oh. All right, this is the setup I have here today. I have a small tripod with a phone holder attachment. It works very nicely for these little mini canvases. Would recommend. I brought some of my paints. I have my little airtight palette. I have my wash basin here. And then I've got my paintbrushes in a cut up toilet paper tube, which is hilarious because I got a container, but it hasn't gotten here in the mail yet. So, yeah, I'm going to get going. This should be interesting. Well, I've run out of light, so I can't continue with that picture, but of course now I see another one. Isn't that cool? It's awesome. Well, anyway. So I'm obviously going to finish this at home, but I think that I did pretty well with this one. Let me turn down my light. It's too bright and you can't tell what you're looking at. Just one more time. There's the scene. There's the picture. Well, that's better. All right, I'm back home and now I'm under some normal lighting so you can get a better idea of what this looks like so far. I'm going to kind of tilt this just a hair to kind of take any glare off of it. I've got the lights down pretty low. I'm probably going to stick this back up in an easel to actually finish painting, but this is just so I can talk about it. So, some funny things. So where my clamp was holding this right here, I like apparently forgot to finish filling in the clouds there, which is hilarious. It looks kind of cool. I might kind of work with that a little bit. I feel like I need to brighten up this area just a little bit. I could see that there's some details missing and that's part of the problem. So I'm going to go in and finish that. The saguaros need a little bit of brightening in a couple places too. They need a little bit of highlight. And then these bushes are just not done. I only put like the under layers of them in there. And there's some details in kind of the foreground that are needed. There's some branches on this Palo Verde tree that are needed. And there are like little tiny saguaros in the background I'm going to put in. It's not that far off from being done, though, actually, which is kind of nice. So I definitely ran into the problem while I was there where there was a lot of wet stuff happening all in here, and it kind of got smeared together and wasn't quite what I wanted it to be. Yeah. So I'll have to go to fix that. But it's not bad, and I did have fun with that. I'm not sure that I would use that burnt sienna as a toned like ground next time. It's not bad. It's maybe not my favorite though. It may have been better just based off of like the day that we had here if I had used something like a yellow ochre maybe or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, it was nice out there. It was like, there was like a nice breeze. It was like, of course, the very end of the month is when it cools down again. I could just scream. What is that, guys? Come on. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I'm going to finish this up. Okay, I am calling this done. That's fun. It's so cute. I love doing these like little miniature scenes, I have to say. There's something very fun about painting it in miniature. I've definitely painted some version of this view multiple times. It's just a really cool view. And at certain times of day, you'll have that Superstition ridgeline light up in different colors. This was a point in the day where it was actually kind of shadowed over by clouds, and then this foreground area was lit up. So that's what I was trying to portray there. And even this area had gone into shadow, so it was really just this section. It was cool. So, yeah, that was fun. Yeah, I still have mixed feelings about using the burnt sienna acrylic ink in the background. I don't know about that. It did some interesting things to the color that I'm not sure are what I wanted. I don't know. It's definitely interesting trying to kind of create all the details you want this tiny little size of the acrylic paint. That's a challenge right there. So I think that's something I'm going to play around with a lot more. I do like these little paintings. I think that it's easier to accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish in a reasonable period of time on these smaller ones. Although I don't find that it's like that much quicker than doing the 6x9 panels. It's like a little faster. But doing the same amount of detail at a slightly smaller size doesn't really speed up the process. So, kind of interesting. Well, this was a really fun month. This was really cool. All it's made me want is to just kind of continue to do this more. Like, I'm worn out, but I still want to go back out there and do more before it gets really, really hot out there. So we'll see how that works out. I'll give you a little zoom in there. There. I think that's pretty cool.